We begin tonight with the President's order to terminate an accord that allows American forces to train in the country. Greg Gregorio with the story.
Government officials have set in motion the country's termination of the Visiting Forces Agreement with the United States, as ordered by President Rodrigo Duterte himself. That's according to Malacanang spokesman Salvador Panelo. The president wants the pact scrapped if Washington does not correct the cancellation of Senator Bato de la Rosa's U.S. visa.
Pag hindi ninyo ginawa ang correction dyan, one, I will terminate the bases visiting forces agreement. Tapusin ko yung I'm giving notice and they begin to count. I'm giving government and the American government 1 month from now.
Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Boy Locsin started the ball rolling. In a tweet, Locsin says he has called on Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana to start the process, but first notifying the U.S. Senate that the administration is in the process of terminating the VFA. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara said his department has been tasked to study the proper procedure. Prior to this, the U.S. Congress passed a provision in their 2020 budget declaring penalties like ban of entry to foreign individuals involved in any human rights violation. A similar resolution was also approved in the U.S. Senate, banning entry of any Philippine government official involved in the detention of opposition Senator Laila De Lima. Duterte hit back with a move to implement the same measure, banning the entry of U.S. senators who supported the resolution.
Di sila mo tuo nga si De Lima, kriminal yun, nga nagkoleksyon yun o kwarta para sa eleksyon niya. Kay gusto lang, ambisyon. Gusto mo dagan, pagka-senador, kaya mong ambisyon pagka-presidente.
Panelo also confirmed that the president has declined the invitation of U.S. President Donald Trump for a special summit with other ASEAN leaders in Nevada come March. He said Philippine-U.S. relations seem to have been marred by this issue.
We can say that it's not as warm as before. It's lukewarm.
The VFA, which took effect in 1999, outlined guidelines for the conduct of American troops visiting the Philippines. It serves as the foundation for military exercises between the two countries. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
President Duterte has the right and the power to terminate the VFA even without Senate approval. The VFA, it should be noted, needed Senate concurrence to come to life. But when it comes to ending it, lawmakers, even those from the opposition, say it is in the president's hands. Mayan Los Baños will tell us more.
The 1987 Constitution is clear. Treaties and international agreements entered into by government need a concurrence of at least 2/3 of the Senate. But the law is silent when it comes to withdrawing from a pact. That's why senators agree the president can unilaterally withdraw from the Visiting Forces Agreement with the United States even without a clear ruling from the Supreme Court, meaning a supermajority vote from the Senate is not necessary before the agreement is scrapped. That could have been the case had it been that Senator Franklin Drilon's resolution requiring a Senate vote before abrogation from any treaty was passed. It had 14 signatures only to be blocked by Senator Manny Pacquiao. Lawmakers brought it to the High Court, which has yet to issue a decision. Senator Panfilo Lacson is appealing to the High Court to decide on the case to determine if Senate consent is needed before the Executive Department can terminate the agreement. But Senator Coco Pimentel said the president has every right to revoke the VFA. After all, the commander-in-chief is also the chief implementer of the country's foreign policy. Pimentel said he understands the president's rationale for the threat, as the chief executive believes that Senator Bato de la Rosa is being punished for having once been an implementer of the government's war against drugs. But for anti-U.S. activist leader Renato Reyes, scrapping the military agreement should be more than a bargaining chip. He also reiterated that terminating such accord is needed because it is an affront to our national sovereignty. Reporting for News 5, Mayan Los Baños, we are One News.
This, of course, is not the first time that the president has threatened to upend ties with the United States. In September 2016, he declared an end to the annual Philippine-U.S. Balikatan exercise as he cleared the table for new alliances with Russia and China. The following month, he threatened a severing of economic and military ties with Washington after then U.S. President Barack Obama raised questions about extrajudicial killings in President Duterte's war on drugs. And then it was in January 2017 when he first threatened to revoke the VFA after he accused American troops of building a depot in the country. But the Balikatan exercises resumed that year, if on a smaller scale. In November that same year, the president and the then just elected U.S. President Donald Trump agreed to additional exercises on counterterrorism as well as intel sharing on conflict and extremism. In April of 2018, Mr. Duterte changed his tone, calling the U.S. our strong military and economic ally. That year's Balikatan exercises pushed through. The U.S. Embassy even touted the country as the largest recipient of American military assistance worth at least 15 billion pesos since 2015. In 2019, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo reaffirmed Washington's commitment to defending the Philippines from China over territorial disputes. VFA Secretary Teddy Boy Locsin even said that the U.S. will remain the country's only military ally. The U.S., for its part, deployed new fighter jets for the Philippines. By September 2019, former AFP Chief Benjamin Madrigal signed an agreement with the United States outlining plans for more than 300 security cooperation activities for 2020.